Oh boy, back in business.
There we go. That's a little bit of chias from Rav Kook in a world that's very much sugar.
It is a sugar world.
I think maybe our learning should be dedicated to Nishmas Elikei.
Yeah,
and
100%.
for chizuk for his mishpacha.
Yeah.
Chizuk for all of his chaverim, his fiance, for Klal Yisrael, for Eretz Yisrael, for the Kaisel. It's long.
Hashem Yazar, yeah.
Yeah, it's not simple. It's whereas I saw this that I don't know if I mentioned this to you that David HaMelech in Tehillim goes through like everything in life. Goes through everything in life. So Rav Nassan writes in the Katalachas that there's not a single Russia in the world, not even like the worst Russia in the world, that can't find meaning and truth and a place to connect in Sefer Tehillim. It's everybody, anybody. That's coming up on Yutas Kislev tomorrow. So Chabad is always machbid on saying Tehillim a lot. That's that Tzemach Tzedek apparently said, if anybody would actually know how strong it is to say Tehillim, we wouldn't do anything else. I said it to somebody. I said it to Chavah sometimes when they said to me, "Rabbi, I need a school for something." Like I don't know. David HaMelech seemed to have a good curriculum. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's true. It's like kind of like the guys, you want to say Tehillim after davening, anything that happens. I'm like, how about you don't daven in 28 minutes, and you just daven the Tehillim in davening? Like,
right. The Pesukei Zimra. The Pesukei Zimra. That's.
I usually miss that because what happens is I sneeze.
Right.
When they're already finished.
It's
really hard.
It's but that's.
Yeah, it's all here. It's all waiting for us.
But that's at the very least, we can be zeicha to learn a little bit of it, and then maybe when we're rushing through it in the morning, we'll be zeicha to like remember a little bit.
Try little pieces. We're trying to get
small bits. Yeah. Okay, so let's see.
Okay, so
we said last time he started by Necha Hayisi Nival that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu removes himself from us, so then Hayisi Nival that's where the lostness comes from, but that's also where we realized how incredible it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks after us.
Mm-hmm.
And where we realize that all of life is really al t'nai, that everything is always conditional, which was incredibly powerful. And just you realize the beauty of life when we realize that everything is on loan.
Yeah, very true.
That's yeah. And
so now we're in the next part. So now this is the turning point, it seems.
Right.
To a degree, in this distress that he's feeling, in this darkness, he says, "Eilecha Hashem ekrova el Hashem eschanan." I call out to Hashem, and to Hashem I supplicate. I send my supplications. So,
right.
So what's going on over here? Do you want to do it?
Yeah, sure. So he says Yesod HaTov, the foundation of all that is good, which is a lot of what we've been speaking about. Foundation that is good, which is Kook writes, is the bottom basement of everything in the world, to know that everything is Tov. And as he pointed out, that it's Tov that comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we can only hope to live in and replicate, but that we can never be certain that based on our activities that we will be able to do it. That Yesod HaTov haba mitoch ha'akara ha'chodedes, that comes from a piercing understanding, mitoch ha'bechina shel chalishus ha'amada shel ha'avaya v'chol t'naya mitzad atzma, that comes as a result of understanding the fragility of existence, which we realize the weakness and the contingency of everything that we are connecting to, relating to, existing in. That it comes from that understanding. He says, "Hu holech umischazek al yidei shehu mevi es hatzimon ha'eloki ha'elyon lachdoid l'seichi usah shel haneshama." It continues and it strengthens. In that, or through that, it brings a thirst for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to pierce into the inside of the neshama. Hashokeika liyos kishura b'mahus hakayem la'adei ad. This deep desire to be tethered, to be connected to something eternal. B'makar chayi hachayim, in the source of all life, of the life of life. Mocha in kol hashlemus hanetzach v'ahoid, the place of the shlemus, of the wholeness, the fullness, the totality of netzach, of eternity, and hoid, and beauty. Now, of course, netzach and hoid are two of the midos. I could speculate, but I'd be curious to know why Rav Kook is bedafka
choosing
focusing on those two midos here.
Yeah, it's nothing random here. Yeah.
No. I mean, so maybe he's going to explain, but like that's a very, very specific reference. Netzach and Haid. Okay, so he says that this when I feel loss in life, when I feel loss and lost, when I feel vulnerable and fragile, that is when I am looking at. I'm screaming that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should come, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be involved in my life in a deep and profound way. He says, Al Kein Hakriya El Hashem B'Shmei Ha'etzem B'Shem Hagodol. It is at that point that I call out to Hashem, Yud Ke Vav Ke.
Right, so in this passage, there's two expressions of Hashem.
Right.
There's Hashem Havaya and there's Hashem Adonus. So the beginning is Hashem as Yud Ke and then Vav Ke, and the next one is Adonus. That's what he's commenting on. That's the first part.
So the scream is a scream to the eternal, transcendent, like lofty, all-encompassing notion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'Shem HaGodol Makor Kol Ha'avaya, the source of all existence. Zeu Ha'or HaPnimi, that is the light inside. Ha'choyded Umeir Es Kol Ha'machshakim, the place that lights up all of the depths, which of course is very connected to Hanukkah. This mizmar is the mizmar of Hanukkah. It's Meir Kol HaMechashakim, which that's the word of Yavan, and that's the word of Talmud Bavli. Like the Gemara says, Darshan's the pasuk in Eicha, Mechashakim HaYeshivan is Talmud Bavli. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu threw us in the deepest, darkest depths of Yavan, we came out of that with Talmud Bavli. That's the darkness. That's Ha'choyded Meir Es Kol HaMechashakim. But then Hamida Hashniya HaMeseveves Mitoch Gadlusa Shel Mida HaElyona, and then there is a second Mida that surrounds, as a result of its greatness, the Mida HaElyona, the loftiest heights. Hima She Hashikika LeHamshich Es HaTayv Es HaSiddur HaKayim B'Tna'av HaMurkavim. It is that desire. It's that desire, that very deep desire, to still continue to live in this transient, passing world, with all of its convoluted confusion, with all of its bits and pieces and its contingencies. Hamiskablim al rotone vedata shel adam, that are accepted, that we can relate to. It operates on the relationship of that which we can, what we want on the one hand, and the lack of knowledge, the lack of trust in whether or not it's going to work. That we are supplicating to the Master of all things. We're davening to not transcendent God, but
detail-oriented God in every complex situation in our life and arena. Basically.
Right, the CEO, right? Meaning not the owner of the company, the manager of the company.
Yes.
Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is manager. He's the Adam. He's the
master. Both. It's just we relate to him both ways.
Right. So he says there's two pieces here, and it's very clear that what he's talking about here is the two bechinas, like the Mekubalim speak about HaKadosh Baruch Hu being Memale Kol Almin and Sovev Kol Almin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the one hand is Sovev Kol Almin, he's surrounding the whole world, is transcendent, beyond, elevated, and then there's this piece that is Memale Kol Almin, that he's there, he's imminent and transcendent at the same time. And then he says, Hamanhig eskol olamim b'midas malchusay, v'shivas hashkachasay. He's the manig, he's the leader, he's the mashgiach, he's in charge. B'svias tovim, with a fulfillment of good, he satiates us with goodness. Lahamshich al yidei aliyas harotzon shelatchina es haifas hachayim v'hakiyim. To continue through that, the elevation of the will of that which we are hoping and yearning for, to channel through that, like this reality called life and continuity. And through that, life itself, in kol havayasam v'tnaihem, with all of its existence and contingencies, with all of the ifs and buts and ands and T's that haven't yet been crossed and I's that haven't been dotted, it says, Mis'adnim be'edin hakadosh shel or Hashem v'shivas tuvay. It now basks in that beauty, that Eden of or Hashem, of the greatness of Hashem. This is very high.
It's very lofty stuff. Yeah. This is not like bedtime reading.
No. So I mean, effectively, if I understand correctly, what he's saying here is that, I mean, and there's obviously billions of layers to this, is that there's really two screams that go on when a person feels that fragility and that like loss and that like being rudderless and anchorless and everything is falling apart. The one is like screaming, like, I don't know, they say like screaming into the void, right? Just want to like yell out, like, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is above and beyond the universe. That is like, everything is just meaningless to him. Like, Ribono Shel Olam, like something, like enlighten me in some way, shape, manner, or form. I want to feel that like this isn't for nothing, for naught, that this is, that like, give me that grand perspective of all of reality. And yet simultaneous to that that's the scream, that's Elecha Hashem Ekra, and then it's Ve'el Adnus, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the master, the CEO, as Hanan. I want that to relate to, like, I'm not expecting that when I scream to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, above and beyond all worlds, that like miracles are going to happen. It's no, my life now might make a little more sense in the way that it is right now. And that's Ve'el Hashem as Hanan. That's sometimes there's the I feel like we have this a lot with people that come to us with a sense of like, just like, I don't know where to begin. Like, you sit down with somebody and they're like, I don't know, like, everything is falling apart. And it's that scream of like, I'm lost.
That's right.
Right? Of like just total frustration. And then like the advice often, like I say to guys all the time, like, rabbis don't have answers. We just have phone numbers. Right? Like, we can help with halachic questions from time to time, but ultimately, and they said that like this was like the big chiddush of Chassidus, was I mean, aside from all the chidushim in the worlds of like Torah, in the worlds of community organization, the Rebbe was a Rolodex. Like, his job was to connect people. Like, somebody would come and complain, I don't know what to do. I have a daughter, she needs to get married, and I have a cow and I need to sell the cow. And like, I happen to know that there's a guy that, he's looking for a shidduch for his son, and somebody else is desperately looking to buy a cow. Right? Like, that's the odon. Like, sometimes like we appeal to Hashem as like the scream into the void, like I need to offload. And then there's the like, call this person and fill out this paperwork. Like, that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the other. Hashem as Hanan, like, I'm going to go speak to some bureaucrat.
The beauty of this is that there's no bureaucracy. It's all one system.
Right. It's all the same phone call.
Yes.
Exactly. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all the same phone call. But both are happening simultaneously, David HaMelech is saying. Like that's
Amazing.
it's all one and the same. Like I'm screaming out to Hashem, and then he's like, "Bubala, you got to fill out this form here." that's and ultimately that's the real tefillah.
So it
Is
comes
that
down
like
to
they're like like that roar of I don't know what to do, and then what I'm hoping for is that Hashem says to me, "No, this is what you need to do." And I feel like a sense of like a chart, a path, like a meaning. This is the direction. I think that's what he's saying. But let's see how he fills this out. He says, "Elecha Hashem ekra, I call out to you, Hashem." He says, "Va'orech hagadol chaydid bi l'ramimeni el merome ha'skala v'chavyon ha'eloki." I scream out to Hashem, and I'm lifted up to like the 30,000 feet vision of the world. Rum hakoved v'tiferes, the heights of kavod and tiferes, of honor and of beauty, olamim, of all worlds. Kulam b'shoshim tziyosam, at the root of all things. Ve'el Adonai eschanan, I'm now beseeching Hashem as the master, lahamshich b'matzav hamgval, to continue into the place of limitation, where I am now. Shall kol hamshachos, of all, meaning the place that all the rivers flow to. Hayesh v'hamatzavim hatzno'iyim, to that which is real, that which is practical, that which is relevant, and that which is all contingent and complicated. As kol ha'osher v'hatov, all of the goodness and all of the happiness. Haroi leikanes bitchumehem, that is worth bringing into their boundaries. Sheyezeh tov nimshach, that the goodness should be continued in. Adin v'nale, that is sweet and elevated. Mevi le magamas hagunos lebrachas emes, will come to a place of appropriate making it real, practicality, and to a bracha that is true. Shel tachlis achris v'tikva tova, of the eternal eventual goal and all of the hopes.
Beautiful.
This is
quite something. And this is coming out of being in the shadows. When one's in the shadow, this is what one experiences. It's just interesting to do that. Like I feel like sometimes we have so many problems, and we turn to so many vendors and help directions and self-help, and we read it. Like it's like, what about Hashem?
Yeah.
All those details come back to Hashem. We search so far and wide.
Yeah, I think what he's saying here is like in the derech of tefillah, is that there's two stages now. The first stage is to person that opens a siddur and just says, Ribono Shel Olam, somebody's sick, heal that sick person. So in Hashem, that's a tefillah. That's Vel Hashem eschana. I'm beseeching Hashem. Hashem, fix this problem. Hashem, the pakid at the bank, right? The doctor in the office, the bureaucrat that's got the paperwork. Solve this problem. But Rav Kook saying that David Melech is saying that's the second stage. The first is to jump 30,000 feet and say, what's the big picture here? What do I want? What am I looking for? Like, where's the root of all goodness and kindness? Where's this coming from? Where's it going to? And then the tefillah is to pour from that wellspring of all the goodness and kindness and beauty and amazingness, like down into the tachlis of practicality. And I think that's the hints that he's giving us here in the midos. Because what he's saying is there's the roim hakoved b'tiferes. Like Tiferes is like all the way up there in the midos. And then what we're asking from Hashem is that it comes down from there. Like this is a tefillah of Hashem, like, let me escape I realize that you're in charge here. Where I am now, I can't understand anything of what you're doing. Help me to jump 30,000 feet into the air. And then look at the world from like your perspective a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then say, okay, now that I'm looking at it from your perspective a little bit, like now that you've given me that overwhelming world perspective that's disassociated from me, like I can't also be me and be, millions of miles away. Help me to bring that into the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very deep tefillah. That like
Yeah.
I want both perspective and practicality. Like most of the time, we feel that those two things are mutually exclusive. Like
Yes.
either I can be practical, or I can have perspective. Which is why you have like CEOs and managing directors and boards, like people that deal with tachlis and people that deal with vision. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is both.
Yeah.
So the tefillah is to both.
And rabbis get to be the little bit of both as well.
That's if we're zeicha, if we daven,
Who's like,
right? That's not so simple.
there you go.
But David HaMelech is saying, the only way out of this, is to have both of those perspectives, and really to envelop the perspective of like the big dream, like to tuck that in to the practical. That's like that, and why do you want hatzlacha here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the purpose of all of this? Which,
Very good.
I mean, I suppose this is his whole mahalach here. Is that when things go wrong, that's an invitation to reconsider what the purpose is.
Right. That's a very good call. So we have to sort of go back to the basics, go back to the roots. What's this all about?
Right. Like HaKadosh Baruch was saying to us, like, why do you want this? Like, is this something that's good for you? Do you know why you want this? Like, let's figure that out. And if you say, yeah, like that's what I want, this is what I'm looking for, so then okay, then plug it into real.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I don't know if we have time for the next piece fully, but we can certainly.
Let's catch 5 minutes into it. So let's start.
Yeah.
So here's what we have. He says now this seems to be part of the prayer. It's like in the inverted commas, it seems. Quotation marks in America. So we say at this point, what value is that if I were to go down to Shachas, the netherworld, is afar, is the dust that I'm going to turn into, going to praise you. Is going to tell your truth, right? So Kosh Baruch Hu, please help me over here. By the way, Rabbi Liebtag was with us before Shabbos, Rabbi Nachum Liebtag, and he said that this mizmor has a lot of Yosef themes in it. Coming into the Yeshiv over here. The idea of the Miyardi Bar, those who go into the pit, and now Betza B'Dami B'Ritil Shachas. This is sort of Yehuda's claim of what's the Betza or the Kinara Gasachino with Kisinus.
Right.
So there's a lot of sort of like Yosef in that kind of perspective ideas. So let's jump straight in. So he says Yesod HaTov. He says the root of all good. I'm sorry. Going back. He says Teshukas Hachaim V'Tiviyis. That natural desire for life. Which every living organism is endowed with. Receives this very lofty, holy idea when it's attached to the divine. Hamakshevas el hamis.
I think it was Humias.
Thank you, Homias.
Right, we saw that before,
Hanishmatitz, which listens and is attentive to the we'll call it harmonious desire of the soul. Shetia moira beor muara beor ziv hakodesh oiso hamida shal menas chaim hachomriyim. That wants to be in the light of the holiness, to the same degree of its portion in the physical material world. Ha'oleches v'shotefes v'soich nefesh asher badam, which expresses itself in sort of this vibrance of the blood supplying life to the body. Hamizdakeches al yedei havtacha shelo ba'amadasa. Try to skip to line. Sha'achaim ha'gufaniyim heim miskonenim al yada. That the all of physical life is dependent on this bloodstream, this life force, and this harmony of the instinctual soul of living life. Hamizdakeches, which becomes purer, ayadai havtacha shelo b'amidol, so which without self-reflection on its standing. Imnei alilos hashinui v'hisabchus hashem ba'olam, because of the of changes around it. Haratzuf gam kein berega ha'af yachad im hashifas ha'chaim shel chesed olam asher ratzon mechayeh ha'chaim baruch hu. So it's almost like it sounds to me like sort of like just as like regular instinctual life forces as a continual flow, with disregard to every situation we're in, right? Meaning my blood's still pumping, maybe pump a little faster in certain circumstances and less in certain circumstances, but so irrespective of everything going on around me, it's continual. So the spiritual recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a continual reflection of divine, of life, of spiritual life around it.
Right. I think he's also saying he's saying like almost like that the recognition of being alive and that desire of being alive comes from the continuousness of being alive, while simultaneously the lack of continuousness of being alive, meaning that it goes on and off. It is clarified and purified by its fragility, meaning you know that you're alive because you know that you might stop being alive at any point in time. Like there's nothing more frightening than like a heart rate that is stagnant.
Yeah.
Like meaning it's got to fluctuate. The fluctuations are indications of being alive.
Yes. So it's oscillation between.
Like when you feel like we only measure. It's interesting. Like in general, we only measure the passing of time and the passing of events by changes. Like seasons change and like years change. We feel like time passes because things change. When things don't change, that's what like people dealt with all of COVID. Like when nothing felt like it was changing, it felt like all time was happening at once and yet not moving. Like it's like people are aging or not aging. That's when I see this written recently, that the lesson of Shona is lesson of Shinui.
Yes.
Time means change.
But it also means shinun, which is repetition as well.
To repeat, right? That's I think that's his chiddush. Yeah. But okay, my dear friend, and Chavra that are listening, we're gonna have to pick this up as Hashem Yisbarach on Chanukah.
Oh boy, Be'ezras Hashem. Talking about Lat on Chanukah is always a good start.
That's good. Okay, so let me mark this place here.
We'll come back straight to here.
Yeah, from Hachuka Ha-Idealis. All right, Chaverim, have a beautiful day, and we'll see you soon.
Have a wonderful one and a Shavua Tov, everybody.